Confession of a Veterinarian. You know what they don't tell you in vet school? They don't tell you how much choice you're going to have. Not medical choice, moral choice. People think the hardest part of my job is delivering bad news, telling someone their golden retriever has cancer, or their cat's kidneys are failing. But that's easy. Words are easy. The real difficulty comes later, when the door closes and I'm alone with the animal, the syringe in my hand, and that endless second where I have to decide how fast or how slow I'll let the silence arrive. People bring me their animals because they believe I'm a healer. They think white coats and diplomas mean mercy. They think I spend my days patching wounds, easing pain, giving their beloved companions more time. That's only part of it. At first, I hated euthanasia, but I believed in mercy. The way the animals stiffened when the needles slid in, the way their eyes widened at the rush of cold before the stillness. But the thing about death is, it listens. I told myself the needle was a kindness, that the calm drifting away was better than the suffering. And for a while, I almost convinced myself that that was true. But the silence that followed every euthanasia, it wasn't empty. It wasn't neutral. It stayed in the room with me. It followed me home. It began as a weight, a kind of pressure at the edges of my hearing. Not voices, not exactly, just the sense of being observed, evaluated. I noticed the animals could sense it too. Even the healthy ones. They'd freeze when I entered the exam room, or bark at the corner where nothing stood, or fix their eyes on me with a look that went far beyond instinct. It was as though they knew something I didn't, that I was carrying something invisible, and it scared them. And now I can't tell whether I'm the one ending lives, or if I'm only an instrument. A hand with a syringe, a voice that tells grieving owners, it's time. Do you understand? I don't fear death anymore. I fear the silence that comes after. Because it isn't silence. It's a pressure that's growing stronger every time I call it into the room. And I think, very soon, it's going to call me. The truth is, I know more about death than I do about life. Every vet does, though most won't admit it. We start with bright eyes and good intentions, thinking we'll save them all. But then the days pile up, tumors you can't cut away, organs that rot no matter how many hands are laid on them, breathing that slows in your arms until it simply stops. And people expect you to smile after, to reassure them, to say, you did the right thing. They never see how often we say those words while holding the syringe behind our back. You'd think I'd feel horror, regret, shame. Instead, I felt a hand rest on my shoulder, invisible, comforting, like approval. That was the first. Now, every time I push the plunger, every time the silence grows warmer, fuller, as though I've fed it. The animals know. They stare at me differently now. Dogs that used to wag their tails when I entered, they shrink back into the corners, hackles raised. Cats arch and hiss when my shadow crosses their cage. Birds go still, watching with black pinpoint eyes. They recognize me for what I am. I'm not killing out of mercy anymore. I stopped pretending long ago. I keep some longer than I should, nursing them just enough to see how long the silence will wait. Sometimes I hear claws skittering across the tile after I've locked up, though the cages are empty. Sometimes I find paw prints in places no animal has been. Sometimes I wake in my apartment to the sound of panting at the edge of my bed, heavy, labored, as though some long-dead hound is waiting for its leash. People still thank me, still cry into my shoulder, still call me kind. But they don't see the other side of kindness. The ledger written in the small lives I've ended. They don't hear the silence growing thicker behind me, filling every cage, every darkened room. And I've started to wonder what happens when it's full. And if, when that day comes, it won't be my turn on the table, staring up at the syringe in my own trembling